So, VR. VR is very new compared to like everything in media. It's pretty apparent that it's just gotten big, like deep, like as in it's just gotten semi big, um, this year, and last year. Um, it wasn't as big as it was back in 2016. Far from it. uh, and I didn't even know what VR was. So, but my first ever VR headset was the PSVR. It was okay. It did the job for my first experience, and ultimately, it wasn't a bad one. Uh, but in 2019, I wanted to get more into VR. I got a Rift S. And my view on VR has been on my view on VR is probably the most one of the most positive views that I have when it comes to like media and shit. I don't even know if that makes any fucking sense. But VR is such a interesting thing, you know. You can't judge VR by videos on YouTube or streams or really anything. You got to experience it for yourself, and that's just that's just how it is. Obviously, that's one of the biggest flaws that VR is having right now, and problems. Uh, because people do judge it off of videos and streams a lot more than you might think. Honestly, a lot more than you might think, and it is really annoying. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It is really annoying for a person that, you know, as a VR lover myself and my view on it, it really annoys me that some people generally, you know, judge VR by, you know, YouTube or streams. Now, understandably so, usually you can judge a game by its, you know, videos and streams and shit, and that is understandable. But VR is completely different, and it is ultimately far different than anything that we've had ever. Like, not even just in the gaming sphere. Like, it is very, very different compared to anything in the media. Compared to anything, like, entertainment wise. Um, and it's. It. It's just crazy. The reason why I wanted to talk to all of you about VR is because I feel like that a lot of people, more so than people that like VR, um, don't see its worth at all. Sure, I guess game, the games that we have for VR are mostly not as good. Um, there is a couple of really really good VR games. Uh, Obviously Half-Life Alyx, Beat Saber, Boneworks, um, fucking I think Job Simulator. I think that's what it's called. God, I don't want to sound like a boomer, but yeah, I don't know. But anyway, um, there was a lot. There's a quite a few good VR games. And for the most part, they're really replayable. Mainly because of experiencing, the world through your eyes instead of like a flat screen and stuff. It just it it's been worrying me for quite some time that VR might have a big downfall, mainly because of Facebook. Uh, if you don't know, okay, so Oculus is bought out by Facebook, and because of this, obviously our privacy is at risk, and you're forced to make an account on the Rift S by 2023, and yes, the argument is that that's only a couple years. Like you should be fine for those couple years. That's not really a good argument considering that it's still going to happen. you know, with the Quest 2, uh, it is going. You're forced to make an account straight up if you don't have one. Some people might, don't not really care and shit. Others like myself, really do care because I've personally had a bad experience with Facebook, um, and to go back into that rabbit hole is something that I never thought that I would have to do, but I have to, you know. Luckily, it is, my account is as secure as you can get in Facebook, but, that doesn't necessarily mean it's, it's gonna secure, because it's Facebook. It's, they're pretty sketchy. Now, a lot of people are very turned off by this. A lot of people don't want to support Oculus anymore, which I'm gonna do so myself eventually. I'm eventually gonna get a new headset because of that, because of this very reason. And a lot of the VR market right now is because of Oculus. This is a big problem. I feel like it's a big problem anyways, because right now the VR market is, mainly Oculus. Like, Oculus is basically the king of VR right now. But because of this big issue, I feel like that a lot of people are going to just get turned off by VR as a whole. I gotta be completely honest. VR is probably the best thing I think I've ever experienced in my life. And it just hurts me, I guess, in a sense that there's just so many. There's this big issue with with VR. One of the big issues anyway. And I really want VR to succeed. It's the really like I. The reason why I want it to succeed is because this. I'm gonna be completely real. Like, this is the most fun I've ever had in gaming since back when I was a little child, And that's saying something. For me, anyways. Gaming, I still have fun with gaming, flat gaming and stuff, but VR has, in many ways, lit up my love for gaming again ever so strongly. And it's something that I really, really care for. Um, I see the potential in VR. It has like a enormous amount of potential, like a lot. But obviously, we have a lot of problems that with VR that we need to solve. There's obviously flaws with VR that needs to eventually get solved. Uh, for starters, obviously, people that judge VR by, watching videos or streams, I feel like that's a very big problem. I don't know how, honestly, I'm going to be honest, I don't know how they're going to fix that, or even if I don't even know if it even is fixable. I still think that, I still feel like they need to give it a go and try to see if they can do something about it, because it is. I'm gonna be real. It kind of slightly pisses me off. Not obviously not to the extent of yelling, but internally, um, mentally, it kind of does piss me off. It kind of does. Uh, because you can't judge VR by looking at a video, because that's not the experience. That's not what VR is. Like, that's like, so yeah, I can't even really explain it. Like, it's not the experience that VR is. The only best way I can describe it, and let me just say this, that it doesn't do it justice because you need to experience it for yourself. It is like, so, flat gaming, right? Big giant TV or small one, whichever. Imagine that, but your eyes are, obviously they are hell a lot closer to the screen. The depth, the depth and perception is very close to real life, and you can move your entire head and the game will track where your head is, so that way you can see the world like you do in real life. That is probably the best way I can describe it. It doesn't do it justice though. You gotta go and get a headset for yourself to understand what I'm trying to say. It's a pretty unexplainable thing. That was the best that I can describe it, and I don't think I've even done a good job at explaining it. But another thing is we've got to straight up have more games that are good. I personally don't really care as much for quality, uh, because I'm here for the long run. I'm here because of the concept of VR, rather than, obviously playing games in VR. I still, like, what I mean by that is, I'm here for the concept of VR and the potentials and everything. Everything that has got to do with VR, I'm here for it. Obviously, gaming's the biggest thing that that I do engage in VR, but that's not all of it. you know, what I'm playing right now is obviously VR chat, and this isn't necessarily a game, but more so just a uh, social experience. Um, but yeah. God, I'm losing track of what I want to say. um, yeah. Oh, yeah. We need more games. We don't have many games that are good. If I'm gonna be blunt, uh, there's not many games. We are getting games. We are getting really good games. It's just taking, obviously, a lot longer than, you know, just regular gaming, you know? Because it is a small market. It's much smaller compared to, like, you know, the regular gaming industry. Um, once once there's a lot of games that are good in VR, I feel like that's obviously going to make VR a lot more big. We just need to get there. We just need, yeah, we just need to get there. Um, let's be real. We're still early years. Like VR was only just, you know, taking noticed back in 2016. You know, obviously VR was there for a lot longer. Virtual Boy, and as well as that, fucking. There was a really old headset back in 2012, I think. It was made by Oculus, but you actually had to hold the headset, and you couldn't. I can't remember what it was called, but like that was that was probably the first headset in this you know, age of VR. Because let me say that VR did have it did have a go like at some point back in, like, you know, obviously the Virtual Boy age and other shit, but the technology wasn't there. It really wasn't there. Uh, but now, because technology is here, we can create uh, a lot more of a better VR experience. You know, um, yeah. I think at the end of the day, I just hope that more people experience this, because it's something that you know, I've had like a lot of fun. You know, there's gonna be more fun for years to come. Honestly, I think this is going to be my go-to thing for gaming eventually. Um, I don't think VR is going to replace. Obviously, it's not going to replace regular gaming, but I feel like it's definitely going to be a good competitor with it. Personally, I feel like that it's better in all ways than, you know, than you would be playing on a controller on your TV screen. You know, like I understand why some people, you know, prefer, you know, flat gaming over, you know, VR. It's still got a long ways to go, but it's it's something that I really deeply care for. It's the first thing, you know, that I can happily say that, like, you know, obviously gaming has affected me, but VR is probably the most strongest it ever affected me. Um, Boneworks, okay. I know a lot of people are gonna get really pissed off of me for saying this. Uh, I'm just gonna wide out say in this video that I don't like Half-Life Alyx as much as I do with Boneworks. Now, to an extent, right, Half-Life Alyx does something that VR hasn't seen, and that's really, like, intense graphics. And sound design is a masterpiece. I'll give it that. Like, it is the most immersive experience you could actually get. But as a VR game, as it stands, it takes it way too safe for my liking. It is not enjoyable. That's why I haven't really come back to the game at all. It's not replayable, and I'm, which is a shame because most VR games I've played I would come back to, but it's just not. It's just not as fun as some other VR games. Um, Obviously people have other opinions about it. Most of the opinions of Half-Life Alyx is like it's a masterpiece and shit, which is I can understand. Like it definitely did revolutionize VR in three ways. Obviously physics, to some degree, graphics and sound design. Mwah. Story, I'm not really a Half-Life fan, so I can't really judge it by it. Um, Half-Life Alyx was the first Half-Life game I played, and I will say that the story is definitely better than most VR games out there. I will say that. The gameplay and the overall enjoyment of the actual game is just not there for me, you know. Boneworks is very mixed, I guess, with some people. I find that game a lot more enjoyable than, Half-Life Alyx because of its gameplay. It's many ways to, kill people, traverse the environment, and, like, there's so many ways to, do shit in that game. The story, obviously, people obviously don't. Most people don't really have time to sort of like dissect, decrypt like the story and shit. It is very vague. That's all I like. That it is pretty vague on the story. You gotta figure it out for yourself, and I personally really like that. Uh, I I really do like stories being told to me, but like I really like figuring out the story. And by the way, they're making an entire I guess series off of Duck Season. Uh yeah, Duck Season. Um Duck Season was the first game in that series, then Boneworks. Uh it introduced a lot of stuff, a lot of concepts that'll be later on implemented to Boneworks in some little way. And now we're getting another game that's actually a spin-off to Boneworks. It's the exact, like, the physics are the exact same, but obviously they're going to be improved. I'm not entirely sure on this, but I think that the soundtrack will be similar as well. The story, I cannot say anything because, a story is a story. um, but it is overall like a spin off of Boneworks. It's called Project 4, if I'm not mistaken. Uh, Obviously, that's not the finalized, it could be the finalized name, but I doubt it. But getting back on track, Boneworks really just amazed me. Like, it's it's something that was the first time that I saw VR's, um, fuck. I saw VR's Feck, my brain's dying. Um, Possibilities. There we go. There we go. Um, it was the first game where I saw VR's possibilities into a game. Obviously, completely obvious that it didn't have all of the possibilities implemented in that, but it was the first time where I saw VR at, I can't explain it. It was the first time I saw VR really hit me, I guess. And especially in the tutorial stage, it had like a little museum of like what, like the first, VR headsets were like, and the first VR games and shit. It really hit me home, and it, I won't lie, it kind of made me a little bit emotional. We've generally come a long way for VR. Uh, Quite a long way compared to back in 2016. Now, what's the future of VR? Well, for starters, I think wireless headsets are going to be the norm eventually. I don't necessarily think that it will completely replace, wired, headsets, but once the technology is there, like once it's as good as, the PC headsets, that's when I'm going to go and get myself a wireless headset. I don't need one. I already got a wired headset. So, yeah. And I feel like that if you do have a gaming, a compatible VR, desktop, then I highly recommend just getting the wired headset. I know a lot of, I know some people generally just don't care about graphics and shit, which is fine. My personal view on that, obviously, I don't really care for graphics as much as I do with VR. I feel like VR is the one exceptional thing where VR is you're supposed to be immersed in the world. You can't really be immersed if it's like a fucking, Roblox game. If you get what I mean. I do like Roblox, don't hate me. But you get what I mean, You're not going to be immersed. Well, at least I don't get immersed. There's some games that a lot of people like in VR that I just can't get into because of it, just how unimmersive it is. But that's just me. But yeah. Another thing is, I honestly do think, okay, Ready Player One, I do think that's going to happen, and whether you agree with me or not, I personally do think it's going to happen in my lifetime. Technology is advancing pretty fast. And when I say fast, I mean, it is really fast. Compared to, the history of, the human race, it is extremely fast. We still have a long way to go in VR. We still have technology that we've made in the past that we still haven't implemented in VR, there's a lot of improvement that VR can easily get. Obviously, there's some things that we're just not there yet. Like feeling things in VR. That's another thing. But I do think that we're going to get it in our lifetime. Whether that be 50 years in the future, 40 years, whatever. I do think it's going to happen. Or at least we're going to get very close to it, you know? People... Again, people can disagree with me and that's completely fine. But I feel like because of how fast, technology is advancing, I do feel like it's a possible thing. It's not impossible to happen, It's definitely a possible thing. And as well as that, a really cool thing, if you were able to smell shit. That would be that would be so weird. Like, you would be able to smell the grass. You'd be able to smell, the atmosphere. That would be one of the weirdest feelings I think I would ever have. Because, don't get me wrong, okay? There is actually some products that you can get that do that. But we're not there yet. Or at least people are not really investing in making that happen. But, good lord, that would be crazy, dude. That would be crazy. And you could have games, developers could, actually make smells for their game. Smells that we don't even, have in the real world. That would be fucking crazy. If you could smell, I don't know, dark matter or something, that would be fucking... that would be so weird. I don't even know what that would smell like. As you can tell, I get very excited when I talk about the possibilities of VR. I get really excited. Again, gaming doesn't do that for me anymore. At all. Obviously there's a few, little tiny things. But mostly I just don't get that excited by imagining shit and the possibilities. Another... Windows being a bit gay. Another thing that could happen in the future is obviously mind-controlled VR. Oh my god, Windows, stop! Wait, I've been at it for quite a while. Let me real quick enable. Okay. I've been at it for 33 minutes. Okay. Let's go for an extra couple of minutes. But another thing I think VR, again, will be in the future is mind-controlled VR. And what I mean by that is you plug in something to your brain, not into your brain specifically, but something that transfers your consciousness into VR. That, dude, I'm gonna be real. When that fucking happens, that will be the biggest invention ever. I'm not fucking kidding. I really do think that once we even, have that nailed, that would be the biggest thing that the human race has ever done. Because guess what? If we were able to do that, people can be scared of it. People can be excited about it. People, can be sad about it. We'll be able to escape reality. Officially. It's not just a saying anymore. It's not partially true. We'll be able to fucking do that. And that thought obviously can be scary. Obviously can be. Like, I'm not... Yeah, it really... Like, it can really be scary. But I'm more excited about it than, most people. Well, not most people, but you get what I mean. I'm more excited than, the people that, are not. Bleh, my God, by speeching. Yeah, I'm just more excited. And that's partially because oh my God. I don't want to be negative. I try not to be. But the world is a fucked up place. To put it lightly. It is a really fucked up place. And having that ability to escape reality is not only going to be obviously a really, really cool invention, but we'll be able to do something that we really, people wanted for ages. Being able to escape it. There's obviously a few things that we do need to take into consideration. Obviously, the health and well-being of the person is going to be quite terrible if they're spending the rest of their life in that thing. And then once they officially come out, they're either going to be really skinny or really fat or just overall just dead, I think the best way to approach this, is to have a facility where obviously they keep an eye on the bodies that are in VR. And being able to take care of it, so when you do want to come back, you can, and you won't have to worry about any health issues and shit. I also think it would be a good idea to have a system in the virtual world where you can check up on your body. How would that fucking happen? I don't exactly know how. But if that was implemented, that would also make it a lot more safer for people to do so. And if you really want to go all out, let's just say you really hate the real world, and you just want to spend the rest of your life in a world that doesn't have those problems. You could fill out a contract or anything so that the person obviously, does check your body, but I guess there's no real time limit to how much time you can spend in that world. Because let me just say this. Here's a very scary thing. That this is the scariest thing, whether good or bad, about this concept. If we are able to do that, we've basically invented immortality. It sounds like a fucking video game, right? But if we are able to do this, it will make us immortal in some form. There won't be there's no such thing as aging. And because our consciousness is transferred into the game, that's really what it is. It's just our consciousness. We'll be able to properly speak. We'll be able to do everything that we can in our body. Obviously, there would be a few things. For starters, obviously, your voice will definitely change to what the character, what the voice of the character is in, in media or, just overall in canon, So say if I unironically become Sans, I would have the voice of Sans because of those factors. If I want to be Rod Puddin, I can, have the voice of him. But that's besides the point. It is scary. It is really scary to be immortal in a world that's obviously we can, it's obviously that it is scary to be immortal in a world that you just can't die. There's a lot of scary things about that. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. There's a lot of things that can come up in my mind that just generally doesn't feel right. But there's also a lot of good things about it. There's a lot of good things about it. For starters, you won't ever age. And there won't be, the average, shit that goes into aging, when, when your bones start to become weak and that sort of stuff. You won't ever have that. Second thing is obviously the subject of immortality. There's obviously numerous, there's a lot of bad things about it. There's also a lot of good things. For starters, we could become a lot smarter than, the human race ever would be, That's obviously not necessarily a positive, that's not necessarily, a perk, but it's a thing. Another thing is, ultimately, we don't have to really worry about dying, and we also won't have to worry about a lot of, the shit that can happen to, to humans. Diseases, heart disease, heart attacks, strokes, anything about, anything along those lines. We'll be immune to that. There's numerous positive and negative things about it, but yeah, that's just, yeah. But yeah. I think VR has a lot of potential than most people think there is. no, in not just gaming, man. Like, in not just gaming, like the entire thing, I guess. There's so much potential, not just in a gaming sense, not just in an entertainment sense, not even a social sense, but nearly everything. You know? So, before people start judging VR off of, videos and streams, I really do recommend just trying it. Even if you're unsure. Because, let me tell you, it will be probably the most fun, long-term fun you've probably ever had for a long time. Just like me. And yes, VR is expensive, but the pricing of VR has definitely gotten lower since, the Oculus Rift and, the Vive and shit. So, yeah. Obviously, here in Australia, it's a lot more expensive, but even then, it's still. I think it would be I think the Rift, like the Oculus Rift, would be somewhere between the $1,000 range. Maybe $999 or something along those lines here. So it is slowly getting more affordable. I just really recommend it, dude. Like, I really do. Um, if you want to know what headset to get, I can't say. It will be up to you, honestly. Um, I do have the Rift S, but because of Facebook, I don't recommend it now. I really don't. In the Oculus brand, I do not recommend it at all. There is VR headsets coming out. There isn't like in the Oculus, in the the Facebook circle. Uh, the HP G2, the HP VR headset G2 or whatever it's fucking called. That's basically the Rift S, but tons better, and it's not associated with Facebook at all. And obviously, if you're not living in Australia, you can get the Valve Index. But yeah, if you are living in Australia, good luck. Like, it is really fucking difficult to get that headset. Like, it's really fucking annoying to get it. The only true way is Amazon, if I'm being real. Like, the only real way is to get it from Amazon, but it is like $1,000. $1,099, I'm pretty sure. I'm not entirely. Yeah, I can't remember exactly what the price was, but it was somewhere along those lines. Um, but yeah, just give VR a go, dude. There's so much that even I don't know. Like, there's so much possibilities that even I haven't stopped to consider. You know. Yes, you could go in I think okay, bleh. Okay. The mindset, the best way to go into VR is not to have the mindset of just playing it for video games. That is a big factor for VR right now, but I feel like having a mindset to be in it for the long haul, be in it for the journey and the possibilities and everything. Not just for gaming, but for everything. I think that's the mindset that you should go with for VR, because you'll appreciate it a lot more. It's also a lot more truthful, I guess. Gaming's not the only thing that VR has potential in. It isn't. So, but anyway, this has been a 50-minute, a 50-minute fucking video that I thought it would just only go for like a couple minutes, but apparently not. I don't expect many people to actually watch this, but if you actually watch the whole thing, thank you. And I hope that my view on VR makes sense. That's really the only thing I just want, is it for it to make sense. And I also hope that you respect, my view on it and shit. You could have a very different view on it, but, And yeah. I've been meaning to talk about VR in this depth for quite a while. It's quite hard when you're playing a certain Spyro game. By the way, that will be coming back. Don't panic, okay? It's coming back. But yeah, just thank you. I will be posting more Beat Saber content, by the way. I might very well be back to streaming Beat Saber again on YouTube. Because I want to grind my ass off in that game now. I'm very determined. So yeah. Stay tuned for that, I guess. And yeah. There's obviously going to be more VR content as well. Medal of Honor, I'm definitely going to be playing that on YouTube as a series. That's definitely a thing. Whether that be streaming or YouTube is... I don't exactly know. Look, not streaming or, an actual just regular series, I don't know yet. I feel like that, making a stream will be a little bit more fun, but we'll see. Alright. That's it. I've played for 50 minutes in just this world alone. It's 53 minutes. Thank you guys so much for everything. And I'll see you all later. Bye-bye.